It's almost time. Super excited to start the virtual detox. The deadline for those of you who are local, you have a couple more days. The deadline is Thursday, but for anybody who is um, out of town, we have quite a few out of towners, and we will need to ship your kits, your detox kits with all your supplies and everything. So we need you if you're from out of town and you've been considering and sitting on the fence wondering, should I do this? Should I not do that? You should do it, and you should do it today so that we can make sure we have the supplies you need. And then, most importantly, get them to you in time to start on January 22nd. So, I am going to answer a couple other questions, talk a little bit more about detox, like I've been doing in these videos. And of course, as I always say, if you have questions or you're not sure if this is a good fit or anything comes up for you, don't hesitate to reach out. That's what we're here for. So one of the things I want to talk about today is just this idea that detox is preventative medicine. So I have a lot of clients who come to me. Most people come to me because they're sick or in pain of some kind. But wouldn't it be a novel idea to get ahead of that game, and rather than waiting until you've got some diagnosis of cancer, heart disease, diabetes, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, which is rampant right now. Let's get ahead of this. As soon as you see some numbers are a little off or you're not quite feeling right, that's the time to really get serious about your program rather than waiting until, there's a crisis. So I want to make a distinction to I'm a doctor. I love being a doctor. The word doctor means teacher. That's the Latin word for doctor is teacher. So as you know, I'm really big. This is why I don't do 7-minute appointments, right? I could give you some help in that time, but could I really prudently get to know what you're doing, where you're at, what's going on in your life, your diet, your stress levels, your sleep habits? Not so much. I can't do any teaching in 7 minutes. The other thing I can't do in even an hour is give you the download on everything I want to tell you. So, as I've mentioned previously in some of these videos, part of why I want to do this program, and I think it's so important for you, is so that we have more time together where I can do some teaching. Understand this: when you pay a doctor, a medical doctor, for an office visit or for a checkup or something like that, it's a little bit different mindset when you do that, especially if you're paying with insurance versus coming to me, or especially a program like this where yes, I'm a doctor, but I'm functioning more as a coach or a mentor. Um, Regardless of the term you use, as a coach, a mentor, a doctor, you're not paying for X number of hours. You're not paying for, 3 bottles, 2 bottles, 10 bottles of supplements. You're not like, that's not what it's about. Yes, there are certain, parameters we have that are included. You're paying for my 20 years of education and the $100,000 plus that I've spent to get that education, my intellectual property, the research that I've done personally, and the mentoring that I've sat under, so that you can speed up your process, right? So that you can, the things that have taken me 10, 15, sometimes 20 years to learn, you can do what I've done in 10 years. You can do it in 10 weeks or 30 days in some cases. And so, I just want you to keep that in mind. So often, if we don't know what to do as a parent, we go get coaching or counseling with our parenting, hopefully. If we don't know what to do as an athlete, we go get coaching for that. If we don't know what to do, with anything, we hire a coach. We call those coaches different things. Some of them are coaches, some of them are mentors. Some of them might be consultants. When we don't know how to handle our money, we might handle, get with a financial advisor or even a CPA. So this is really what you're doing when you invest in yourself. Instead of staying stuck and being lost, this is another avenue for you to take your health to the next level. And health is wealth. If you don't have your health, it doesn't matter what else is going on. It doesn't really matter what you've been called to, right? Because you can't do those things without good, radiant, shining, abundant health. So one of the things I had mentioned, I want to just talk again about briefly is anytime you work with me in any capacity, for those of you who have come to, for consultations, obviously that's all of you. But even for those of you who've heard me speak locally or watched any videos or anything, you hear me talk a lot about mindset. And one of the things we're going to be talking about in this program is the placebo and nocebo effect and how we've been programmed to lose in many ways in life. And of course, the more important thing, how we can fix that. Let me just give you a really brief example that I think many of you will resonate with. We all know, hopefully this isn't you, but this may be you. Certainly we all know somebody we love who's gone through this. If you tell a child, especially age like between like ages like, well, we'll just say 8 and under, 10 and under, something like that. If you tell a child they're stupid, and you tell them that over and over and over again, a horrible experience for sure. But after a while, what does that child believe? They believe they're stupid, right? That doesn't mean they are, but it is what they believe. And so they carry that with them through school, through various jobs. They carry it into relationships, and it impacts everything they do. So what we need to do is learn how to do the opposite. What if you tell that same child, or let's say two children raised in the same neighborhood, same area, same similar circumstances. One of them is told they're stupid their whole, younger years growing up. The other one is told they're limitless, they're powerful, they're full of love, they are love, they're abundant, they're smart, they can do anything. Are these two kids going to have a different frame through which they view life? For sure they will. So sometimes, and if you've been in this, I know for some of you, because some of you have reached out, it's like, oh, I've tried so many things. This isn't working, that isn't working. Sometimes it's that mindset piece. And I want to, we're going to jump into that in more detail, but I wanted to just make that little bit of a connection because it's like, sometimes that's the hangup, right? This is why we do ERT. For those of you who are familiar with ERT, emotional repolarization technique, there can be an emotional blockage or a subconscious program that we're not even aware of. And when you pull that out, it's like all of a sudden the healing can occur. All of a sudden the growth can happen. All of a sudden the area you've been stuck in for weeks, months, years, and sometimes decades, like the veil's been lifted. So that's another piece of it. This is part of being holistic. So many people say they want to do things naturally, they want to be holistic, but then when we start talking about mindset, they're like, whoa, I came here for supplements. None of you do that. Most of my clients are not like that, but it is a common thing where it's like, oh, don't go there, I don't mess with that. That's my pet belief. And the truth is these beliefs are sabotaging. They come from somewhere and they need to go back to where they came from. Hopefully that makes sense. The last thing I just want to share with you really briefly. Oh my gosh, I just made what I had for lunch. If there was a way to send it through the screen, I would send it to you all. It was so amazing. And it was this like cheesy noodle dish that I made. And why am I telling you this? I'm telling you this because there are certain foods that will help your body detoxify and still feel really good and strong. And so one of the things I've kind of been on a mission, in some ways my whole adult life, but more so even recently, is like, how can we incorporate foods that taste amazing, make it so you can actually eat more food if you want to, or if you need to, and still facilitate this detoxification? Because a lot of times when we have rich, creamy foods like cheesy noodles, it actually bogs the system down and slows things down. So again, it's like, what if there was a way, because there's always a way, What if there was a way to have these things without it not only slowing down the detox, but sometimes reversing the detox? Because as you have probably gathered, I'm not talking about cheese made from cows. Um, and so it's like, what does that look like to actually turn adversity to advantage, where we take a food that normally is harmful to the body and it's going to make things more sluggish, and we have that same an upgrade of that food that tastes amazing, that your husband or your wife or your kids or your friends and family that are coming over will also enjoy. It's not very expensive. It's super fast to make. Um, and it is so good. It's just, oh, unbelievable. So good. So, anyway, I'll be sharing that specific little trick with you, how to make that dish. There'll be some other things like that, but part of this program is we're here to support you. So yes, there's a structure in the program, but there's also like, hey, if we get on a call and you need to talk about something specific, why is this happening, or how can I do better on this, or whatever, that's what this is all about. So I'm so excited. We're starting now in less than about a week, when you see this. And so everybody, please, 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 if you have questions, reach out. Otherwise, go ahead and go back into your email and hit that apply button. This is a two-step process. Again, if you haven't listened to all the videos, if you already have, that, but if you haven't, you're going to click the link that says apply. It's very short, just a few quick questions. You can do it in less than probably 2 minutes. And then you're going to get as soon as you're approved, which we typically approve you pretty fast, especially you guys, because you're clients and I know you pretty well. As soon as you're approved, you're going to get a discount code to save $200 on this program. So that is going to be an amazing opportunity. Don't miss out. Go ahead and click the link now, and so we can add you to the list.